Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 426th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have Jonny Hates Marketing, Mr. Jonny Cooper. Cool dude from overseas, UK type. Had me on this podcast. I have been interacting with him online through his group. I like his approach. I like the low-key, chill, hang out, attract people to you. You know, the funny thing is, I've always been like that, right? I have, in corporate America and whatnot, I was working with startups way back in the day and had to pound the pavement, had to make cold calls, and I did well at that. But I was always looking for the angle, looking for ways to stand out, working with startups. I'd make my own business cards, give myself my own titles. I would do things to stand out, to prove that I was different. And what I learned eventually was that I was a marketer trapped in a salesman's body, but they are two sides of the same coin, and probably two sides of the same coin. I don't know. Did I say that right? No. Two halves of the same side? Yeah, something like that. Sales and marketing really is interrelated, and everything is a sale. And so you're in for a treat where we're getting into his different approaches and just his name, right? Jonny Hates Marketing. It's the name of his group. We talk about how to use Facebook, how to use social media, how to go live, how to let people see your face more. But you'll see he is just a chilled, laid-back guy, and he's making a great living with no stress, which is what I am all about. So let's bring on Jonny Cooper. Jonny Cooper, all the way from the UK, against my better judgment. Welcome to the Sales Podcast, man. What the heck is going on?
Oh, yeah. Well, look, you may as well start with an insult, eh? Start as you mean to go on.
I mean, your name is Jonny Hates Marketing. Why should I have somebody that hates marketing? I mean, I love sales and marketing. I love manipulating people. I love fake Instagram filters and poses, and I love the alternative choice closes and hardcore closing and overcoming objections and smashing people down and ripping people off. So why should I have someone that hates marketing on my show?
It's a good point. You were that guy one. Didn't you rent a Lambo for a day and park outside somebody's mansion? And
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Wasn't that you?
Oh, man.
Well, I'll tell you what it's all about. I mean, and I'm sure I share this with many of your listeners. I hate having to do marketing and sales, really. But what we love is we love the client relationships that we open up as a result of it, and we love the impact and transformation that we deliver to our clients. The rest of it is just kind of clunky, and to the extent that it's unpleasant, I mean, those are the bits that are, just hard work with no certain outcome. You know, I know people who've spent tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook ads to no effect. I know people who've built websites that's taken them 6 months and got nobody watching them, you know, this kind of thing. So, you know, marketing is such a broad term these days, isn't it? It's all digital, effectively. But I think nothing's changed since the ad man back in the 50s said he was wasting half his advertising budget. The trouble was he didn't know which
Don't know which half.
Yeah. So nothing's really changed with all the data we've got. We're still guessing. We're still just testing things, aren't we?
Well, yeah, we always say, you know, if you can measure it, you can improve it.
Yeah.
And I'm always telling people, and it's easier said than done, but, you know, you're always trying to beat your best performing ad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this weekend, even this morning, like I'm going through my CTAs, right? My calls to action that it's nice with HubSpot. They're all embedded. You can edit them and whatnot. And I'm looking and seeing which ones are performing. You know, I'm killing off the bad ones. I'm tweaking the good ones, right? I'm doing things as small as taking the verbiage and capitalizing it. You know, hey, does that work? Hey, all right, this one's got a rounded edge button. Let's try a square, 90-degree rectangle button. Because once you go big and start to find the winners, then you slowly start to refine. But Who has the discipline for that anymore?
I know. So this is what we mean by ace marketing. I mean, for my community, which are coaches and therapists, a lot of these people are just starting out. A lot of them, again, are heart-centered entrepreneurs. That's an expression we use in the UK. I guess you guys do too. These are people who just want to help other people. You know, they want to heal the world. And for them, the thought of doing any marketing is just horrific, you know.
Right.
So I said to them, look, okay, don't call it marketing, all right? Just call it starting a conversation with the next person who looks like an ideal client. So what we get them to do, I mean, this is my organic funnel, if you like, is we're getting to build a community, mostly on Facebook, probably a Facebook group, which is a great kind of greenhouse, you know, for nurturing relationships with potential clients. And then just get really, really clear on who your ideal client is. So you fill a community with just those people. Get really, really clear on what it is you do, you know, the one big thing that you do for those people. And then build a simple program, preferably an evergreen program, so you don't have to work too hard at it, which you can deliver to more than one person at once. So, you know, kind of a group program. Once you've got those three things in place, you know, the what, the who, and the how, then you can just start conversations with someone who looks like your next ideal client. Get them onto a call, invite them onto a call through a direct message. You know, all these facilities are free. You know, all this software is free, so you can do stuff like, you know, the free version of Zoom or even Skype if you have to. Facebook's free, as you know. You can get a call scheduler that's free. So you can put all that funnel we described together for no money at all. And you don't have to build a website. You just got to build a Facebook group. And, you know, that simple process, that simple funnel has served hundreds of coaches and therapists in my community who followed that path. And they've now got a business where before they kind of just had a hobby or, you know, a wish.
So wait a minute. I don't need ClickFunnels,
no, sir.
lead pages,
no, sir.
And MailChimp, and
no, sir.
SEO Moz,
no, sir.
And SSL and CDNs and social media
I don't know what those
manager.
Things are. Well, SSL is good if you have a website, but I mean, look, here's the thing: it depends where you are in your business. I have people in my community who are doing high six figures sterling. So there's one lady I know did 680 last year organically, did not spend a penny on paid advertising. She does not have a funnel worth the name. She has a high ticket program, and she recruits people onto a high ticket program from the Facebook group. Hell, that's what I do. That's what I do. I mean, I did six figures. I know it's a cliche, this. I apologize if your listeners are turning off, but that's £100,000 in proper money. I did that in the first 12 months from a standing start, just by launching my client attraction blueprint program. It's a four-person, 12-week program. I do an intake every month, so I've got 3 running at any one time. And it costs £3,000 to join that program. It's actually £4,000 in 2020, so that the intake as of February is £4,000 each. So do the maths. You know, you get 4 people on that. That's 12 grand a month at 3 grand each, isn't it? 16 grand a month at 4 grand each. I know people who are flailing around spending 12 hours a day and working into the night optimizing their adverts who are not making anything like that, you know, just to make 5 or 6 grand a month selling low cost blueprints. You know, the bottom line I understood when I put all this together was this kind of anti-marketing concept is that selling a few things, a few expensive things, is much easier than trying to sell a lot of cheap things. Okay. Selling an expensive thing to a few people on a regular basis is so much more profitable than trying to sell a cheap thing to lots of people all the time.
Well, yeah. I always tell people
this will get you to a certain point, you know, and you might go, well, okay, so I'm doing that. That's my 180 grand a year business. what can I do with adverts now then? That'll bring in the next 180 grand or the next 200 grand or whatever. But I don't think anybody should be starting off in the expert business, coach, mentor, trainer, therapist, public speaker. Nobody should be starting off in that business buying ads.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell everybody you don't start paying money for ads until you've optimized your conversions.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're just wasting money. Everybody
Mm.
says, I need more traffic, need more traffic. No, you don't need more traffic. You need better conversions.
Yeah.
Then you need more traffic.
He did it. But yeah, I dig below the better conversion statement. You're absolutely right. That's what we call it. But what it really means is you need a better offer. You need an offer that people want. And within that, dig down to the next level. What people? Who are they? Identify a bloody client avatar. Work out what it is they want and feed that with an irresistible offer. Then your conversions are given at that point, aren't they?
So you're hanging around doing your selling, your marketing, your coaching, and you go, all right, I'm working too hard. I'm going to start a Facebook group. Right? I mean, walk me through those early stages, because I know there's a lot of people saying, yeah, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to post 12 times a day. I don't want to live on Facebook. I don't want to be doing Facebook lives and Instagram lives and periscopes and live streaming and blah, blah, blah.
All right.
So how did you kick things off?
Well, an interesting question, but lots of nuances in that question. I mean, one thing, the I don't want to, followed by a big list of things that, a hypothetical listener might not want to do. I'd say this, you've got to do something. This is your business. Anybody in business who's making money does stuff, from morning till night. They go to work and do something. And if you're saying, I don't want to do that list you just spoke about, in addition to all the stuff I'm doing now, well, don't, stop doing some of the stuff you're doing now because this stuff works better. If you show up in a Facebook group, you don't need to post 12 times a day. I mean, I know you're just plucking a figure out of the sky, but 2 or 3 posts a day is fine. And you can schedule those using the native scheduler within the Facebook group. You don't need any external scheduling tool to do that. So when you're feeling inspired, you just write a bunch of stuff and load it up in the group itself and it'll deploy. But you've got to show up a bit, of course. And doing lives, I mean, why wouldn't you want to do lives? I mean, we're all good-looking humans, aren't we? We're not to be ashamed of when we turn the camera on.
The more you drink, the better I look. So bottoms up.
Exactly. So I feel too. And, showing up on camera is the number one best way to get people to know you, like you, and trust you, isn't it? Look them in the eye, tell them what it is that's bugging you. Lift the curtain on your life, let them see. I mean, who we're addressing here, Wes, let's be clear, we're addressing personal brands here, aren't we? People who are going to be building a lifestyle business, as an expert in a particular field. People who know something that the rest of us don't, and that we'll be prepared to pay for. People who can share some information, Now, before you get the right to do that, you've got to show yourself. We want to see who you are. Who the bloody hell are you that's, talking about all this stuff to us and expecting us to pay you for stuff? So live video is such a wonderful way to do that. And, Facebook's come out and said, that they want to be a video streaming platform, to rival YouTube. YouTube's got live streaming now. So, you got to play to these platform strengths and use them. It's all free. No one asks you to pay on Facebook unless you pay for ads. So when you got a group, just hang out there. Just make that your office, if you like. Just imagine you've got hundreds and potentially thousands of people knocking on your office door every day, wanting to hang out with you. That's what the Facebook group feels like to me. I post some,
all of this posting and videos and whatnot, are you doing that in a free group? Do you do it in a paid group?
Yeah, great question.
How do you divide these up? And, where's the exclusivity that
Yeah.
people, if I pay you 3,000 or 4,000 pounds,
Yeah.
I don't want to be hanging out with Johnny come lately, who
Yeah.
just hops on the site, yesterday for free.
Yeah, well, you get to hang out with Johnny Cooper, right? Never mind Johnny come lately.
That's right.
I always come at the right time, let me tell you
Much
that,
better.
in every way. So, look, this this is just about structuring your business in a sensible way. Do a bit of testing, I guess. I used to offer a lot more free value than I do now. But the bottom line is this: however much you give them for nothing, they still want to pay for the rest. You know, they still want to pay for what's left. There's always something else, isn't there? And all I've done recently is I've transported a bunch of video content that was in the free group and put that into the paid group. So my paid group's called the JHM Inner Circle, which I know it's Marketing Inner Circle. So anybody who pays me to become a client gets access to that, whether they're in the subscription membership community or whether they bought one of the more expensive programs. They get to hang out in the Inner Circle group. There's over 170 hours now of video content in there that they can watch and download as bonuses. But you're right. I mean, it's nice to build up a kind of premium vault, I guess, of content, of stuff that represents what your ideal clients need and want.
Right.
And you can do cool stuff with it. I mean, from time to time, I give people access to the content vault. Time limited access for a week or a couple of weeks, just as a trial.
Oh.
We can pull stuff out there as individual videos and bundle those up into a kind of bonus deal. You know how it works. But one thing I discovered actually, as much as the issue of giving them too much or not, is that there's only so many ways that people want this kind of stuff framed. They want to know how to find more clients more easily. They want to find out how to reduce overwhelm. They want to understand how to effectively work less and earn more. How to see fewer clients and get more impact. All this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And there's only a certain number of ways you can frame that. I would say to anyone starting out, you don't need a shit ton of content. You don't need hundreds of hours of anything. You just got to have a core message that people will believe. And more importantly, they believe will work for them as well as it has for you. And then put a sticker on it, put a price on it and sell it,
Right. So, I love the concept. And again, the devil's in the details, right? You talk about posting 2 or 3 times a day, live videos. If somebody's new to this, I know they're saying, what in the heck can I talk about every day? Because most people, they struggle with content. Most people,
I agree,
are nervous on the camera. Most people don't think they're a good writer.
Yeah.
And so, is it a bunch of cute little quotes? Hey, let me just quote Henry Ford and Steve Jobs, and that's going to inspire people. I mean, can it be that simple, or do you have to get a little deeper every now and then?
Yeah, I stay right away from third-party inspirational quotes. I think they've had their day if they ever had one. I mean, all that tells a potential client, if anything about you, is that you're pretty good at selecting an inspirational quote. But it doesn't make them want to work with you, does it? So write your own damn stuff, for God's sake. And if you're going to quote somebody else, do it in a little bit of a longer post where you wrap it around your thoughts about that quote. Why you think this is such a good quote, or why you don't agree with it. Here's a good idea. If you're a meme bunny and you just like posting memes, post somebody's quote and then disagree with it. Find out how to take it apart and say, this is some of Henry Ford's bullshit. Here's why he was wrong. That's going to get people's attention, isn't it? But generally speaking, write your own stuff. I mean, you ask about inspiration for content. I'll tell you where it comes from. You've got to take a step back and say, who is it for? Who is it for? Who is my client avatar? And if you want to start a coaching business and try and appeal to everyone, well, good luck with that. Yeah, you got to all work ahead of you, because in trying to appeal to everyone, you'll appeal to no one. That is certain. What has power in content and in speech is speaking to a person, one-to-one. Everyone wants to feel like you're addressing them. As Seth Godin said in his latest masterpiece, if you can get your ideal client to think, people like us do things like this, those 7 words, people like us do things like this, then you're halfway there, because people are going to jump in and join your community. So it starts with who your ideal client is. Now, when you do that, just do a little thought exercise, or even find some people like that and ask them what's keeping them awake at night. So that's what they want to get away from. That's what's called their push motivations. And then ask them where they would like to get to. What are their deepest desires? What are their most glorious dreams? And they're what's called pull motivations. That's what they feel magnetically drawn towards. And then just start writing stuff in those 2 columns. A list of push and pull things. Things they're trying to get away from, and things that they feel inexorably driven towards. And you frame those as questions. We see these all the time, don't we? If you're, let's pick a fairly banal example. Let's say you're a stop smoking coach. There's still some of those around, isn't there? Getting people to stop smoking. Therapist or coach. So your push motivations there are things like, are you sick of your wardrobe stinking like an old ashtray? That's going to get their attention, isn't it? That's an engagement question in there. Pull motivations would be things like, would you like to be able to kiss someone without worrying about what your breath smells like? You get into the heart of the smoker's life then, and these people are going to think, yeah, he gets me, yeah, that's fine. That's what you want to get to with it. Every post. You want the person reading it to go, this guy's on my wavelength. And when you nail that, you get, as I'm starting to get in the group now, people go, great post, just what I needed this morning. It felt like you were talking to me. That kind of thing. So that's the art to it. And if you ever run out of those sort of ideas, then just go back to that little thought exercise. Put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client. Look at the world through their eyes. As my pal Steve Blompier often says, enter the conversation that's going on in their heads. And you can't go wrong if you follow that track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's.
Does that make sense? Did that sound a bit simplistic? Or?
No, simple is best. I mean, it's and the more you do it, the more inspiration you'll find, and the better. I mean, you'll get these flood of ideas and whatnot. And
yeah,
it's the old adage: you've got to master the arts. You got to master the rules, so you know how to break them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
You've
true.
got to, train in jujitsu, right? I mean, my instructor's done this for 35 years. And he shows us step by step, the proper way to do a move. But then when you fight him, it's all types of variations.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's so good, he can modify things on the fly. He's still applying the fundamentals.
Yeah, I get that totally, yeah.
Right? It's like golf, right? Golf, all these golf pros, all these books, all these DVDs, all these programs.
Yeah.
And all you do is hit the ball with an accelerated blow, a descending accelerated blow with a square club face. That is all golf is.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I find these analogies fascinating, with sport and games. I mean, how many people have compared chess to war and that kind of thing, you can know the rules of chess, as in the moves. Doesn't mean you can play, does it? And you've got to play successfully. But my sport of choice is motorsport. I've driven pretty much every type of racing car you could imagine: single seaters, sports cars, saloons, sedans, as you call them in the States. And I can tell you that the principles are: press the accelerator as long and hard as you can, brake as little as you can, turn the wheel smoothly. But all those things, like you say, with the golf analogies, they're just glib, superficial statements. Actually doing that is a different thing altogether, isn't it? I'm aware sometimes that, you know, when you've achieved a certain level of success, I guess like you and I have, being brutally frank, you know, we kind of know what we're doing. We prove that on a day-to-day basis. It can come across as a little glib and condescending sometimes when you say to people who are just starting out, "Oh, all you got to do is this," you know. Yeah, but it's all right for you, they say, you know, because you're doing it. So we got to be very careful, don't we, that we tailor our advice, you know, our training, our coaching, to the level of understanding that the client has of that particular discipline or that particular technique. I think I wrote a piece a few weeks back, you know, the trouble with gurus, I called it, you know, and it's exactly this, you know, if you're just starting out and you're taking your inspiration from someone who's, you know, making $2.5 million a year, the chances are, number one, they've forgotten what they were doing when they were just like you. But number two, in any case, the tactics and strategies that they're using are no good to you anyway, are they?
Yeah, it's I tell people all the time, it's like in sports, rarely do you see the Hall of Fame players become the Hall of Fame coaches,
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
It's usually that person that had to work harder. Maybe they were a second team, you know, all pro, but they had to work super hard to get there. And it was in the study of
Yeah,
the process and whatnot
yeah, I
that
agree.
they became great. And so, you know, I guess appreciate the journey, right? Appreciate the struggle. Understand you've got to dig in
Yeah,
and get uncomfortable and stay after it, you know. But like for you, like what's the transition? You know, you're hanging out in your free group and people
yes,
are like, "Oh, this is wonderful. That's a great inspiration. Oh, I really appreciate that story. Thank you very much." How do you
yes.
take them from give to asking for, you know, taking them to a paid
Yeah,
customer?
that's a great question. And do you know what? This is so breathtakingly simple. I should patent this. Um, all you got to do, all those things that you just said there, those reactions, they are absolute gold, because you know what? They tell you one thing. They tell you that that person is willing to communicate with you. So they've opened the line of communication. So reward that. Send them a direct message. And this again is playing to the strengths of the platform. Facebook direct message system, Facebook Messenger, right, is truly the great blue gift from heaven, right? Because email open rates are what, 15 to 30% if you're lucky these days. Messenger open rates are 85 to 90%. So send them a direct message and say, great, thanks for communicating in the group. Thanks for contributing to the group. Thanks for engaging. I feel your pain, or loving your work, something like that. Let's jump on a quick call sometime, see if I can share some insights. Grab a slot and we can talk. Bang, post your scheduling link. I'm assuming your listeners are going to know what a scheduling link is, something like You Can Book Me or Acuity Scheduler or Calendly, one of those things. And they just get them to click. Now, in my group, 50% of the people that we send that message to will book a call. Now, that call very, very easily then becomes a sales call. In fact, it is a sales call. It's the raw material that forms your sales. It's the conversation. So you switch on your radar, you look at them, you listen. It's on Zoom, by the way. It's not a phone call. Find out what they want and just ask them permission to make an offer. So it sounds like you'd be a great fit for my program. I'd like to tell you about my program. You know, are you open to it? If we could solve those problems you've just told me about in a few weeks, just working together, would you be open to hearing about how we do that? Yep, great. Bang. Now, 50% of the people who go on those calls will buy something from you. So what have you got there? You've got a process, you've got a system, you've got an organic funnel. It's just a numbers game. Start those conversations in direct message with more people and you'll make more money. You'll make more sales. As we sometimes say, continue until wealthy. That's all you're going to do. It's breathtakingly simple. Now, for me, a Facebook group is the best way to do that. It's not the only way. You can get some kind of engagement on a Facebook page. You can get those kind of engagements, as you know, from Facebook ads feeding into a discovery call. But hell, if you're just starting out, you don't need to. I'm absolutely certain that this year the JHM business will do getting on for $500,000, certainly in dollars, using exactly that process and nothing more, without paid ads at all. So inviting people onto calls. The devil's in the detail. You said this before, Wes, and I think the key thing is the language you use. If you say, let's have a call to talk about my program, not as many people would do that. But if you say, look, let's just jump on a quick call sometime, see if I can share some insights that might be useful. Everyone goes, great, thanks. That'd be really good. Would you mind? Yeah. And just talk to them about their situation and see how you can help.
And are their defenses up? Like, oh man, you're going to try to sell me? Or are they like, oh wow, I get to talk one-on-one with the guy that runs the group. This is so exciting.
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, look, let's be clear here. You've got a filter, haven't you? Because you're picking people out of the group who've started a conversation, or they've commented, or they've engaged in some way. You've then sent them an invitation to the call. The ones whose defenses are up and think you're going to try and sell them something won't book the call.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
The ones that do book the call are just open to having a conversation, which is, in actual fact, all you should be doing. All you should be doing is entering that call with the expectation of a conversation. If it goes in a direction that ends up with you opening a relationship as a paying client, then brilliant. And some of them will.
Right.
But, if you're not... if you're not tied to the outcome too much, I mean, I think this is the key to successful sales in our business, organic sales, is to detach yourself from the outcome. Just work the process.
Right.
Just work the process on a daily basis, and some of those people are going to buy. I mean, when you're honing this, when you're starting out, I have clients through my client attraction blueprint program. Their conversion rates are probably 1 in 8, 1 in 10, and they're getting a bit despondent. And we just go, look, just keep doing it, man. It'll get better. Right. And then surely it blasts through 1 in 5, 1 in 4 until they're converting 50%. And what could make you happier than having 2 conversations a day and making a sale a day?
Yeah, because the choices are build a website, hire an assistant, hire a consulting firm, get locked into a contract, spend money on ads, waste money on ads, realize you're not doing things right, realize the agency isn't doing things right, go to conferences, buy additional books and programs, go to counseling because you beat yourself up because you feel like not worthy of living because you're not making more money and more sales. Right. I mean, that's the process.
I thought you were going to insert hire a high ticket closer to do your sales calls.
A funnel expert. I need a funnel expert and a high ticket closer. Oh my gosh!
Jesus.
What is
going on? Can you
that?
see why I hate marketing now?
I do too. I tell people all the time. I hate sales. I hate sales.
I hate all that bullshit.
I don't play the game. I mean, I'm not teaching, one-liners and stuff. And people in my sales training, like I got my sales training flashcards. And it's 51 pages of how to handle objections and talk to people, but it's really to plant the seed so they just start taking action.
Yeah.
And then can kind of, I don't keep those on my desk. They're not in front of me. It's because it's all ingrained in me now and I can see where it's going. And I really don't want to overcome objections. I want to anticipate them. It's like my instructor, right? He's like, I'm like, hey, how do I get out of this position? He's like, don't get in that position. Let me show you how not to get in the position first.
I love that. Right? That's great.
I remember this golfer, I think, I forget who, one of the golf pros, but he's like, hey, I want to learn how to get out of the bunker. And the guy's like, well, why don't I teach you how to not get in the bunker in the first place?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
but I mean, you're always going to have you're always going to have issues, right? But the point
Mm.
is, focus on doing things right, and
Yeah.
then you won't have all of these extra issues. If because I love, some of these sales trainers are like, focus on the close, spend 80% of your energy on the close. That's where the money happens. That's where the sale is made. It's like, oh,
Nah.
bull crap, man.
The sale's made when you start asking them questions about themselves and then making them understand that you are listening to the answers.
Yeah.
That's where the sale's made.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants someone who listens to them. I just want to give you a direct example there of the universal truth behind what you just said. You said anticipating objections is better than overcoming objections. And I'm sure everyone listening to this has had a client say to them at some point or at the end, once the price has been revealed and you've shot your bolt, as we say in common parlance, and the client says to you, all sounds great. I've just got to check with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got to ask my wife, right? And then the coach says to me, how do I overcome that objection? I go, at that point, you've probably blown it
Yeah.
because they're never going to come back into a sale.
Right.
How many people have called you up the next day and said, great news. My husband came in last night, tired from work, and I said, sit down. I've got something to show you. And I spent an hour going through every aspect of your program with him, all the ins and outs, all the benefits we get from it as a couple together, how it would enhance our lives, just like you told me. And then at the end, I told him the price, and he was so relieved. He said, is that all it is? So I want to go ahead with it. How many times have you had that conversation the next
Oh,
day?
yeah. All the time.
Absolutely freaking never. Because what actually happens is, the wife says to the husband says, how was your day? Oh, yeah, I was talking to this guy today. I was talking to Wes. Oh, right. What's he selling? Oh, is it just this program for my business? Oh, how much is it? Oh, $3,000. Now forget it. That's how the conversation goes. So that objection is insurmountable, I would suggest, in most cases. So the way to overcome that is early on in the conversation, just to look them in the eye and go, before we get started, is there anybody else involved in this decision-making process? Or do you make all these kind of decisions entirely by yourself? And if they say, oh, I just have to run it by my husband, brilliant. Let's book another call when your husband's around and I can talk to both of you about it. Because it's not fair expecting you to explain to your husband like I'm going to explain it to you today. It's not fair for me to give you that job, is it? So when you're both around, and that's the way to overcome that objection, to anticipate the objection, isn't it? So it never becomes an objection. And there are probably 3 or 4 other common objections, aren't there?
Yep.
The money is one, the time is one.
Yeah, there's literally only a few objections if selling anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's probably only those 3. Somebody else, yeah.
will this work?
Not having the resources, or actually
Will this
not
work in
needing
orbit?
it.
Right? Yeah, that's not going to come up. Unless
Yeah,
you're selling to the space system.
Yeah,
But,
is this waterproof?
but a similar. Yeah, but it all falls under the same umbrella of compatibility.
Exactly.
Hey, when you're considering this, what are your key things you look for? Or look for, does it work with Microsoft? Does it work on Apple? Okay, so interoperability. There's only a handful of things. I'm looking at HubSpot. Well, does it integrate with WordPress? Okay, same concept. The question is different, but pricing, availability, deliverability, support, interoperability, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's only a handful of real questions that you have to address. And they're not all equally important.
Yeah.
Right.
But, just bringing it back to everything we've talked about so far, if you can nail that simple funnel where you're building a community of people who look like your ideal clients, so you've got to identify that first. Facebook groups are a great place to do that. Facebook groups are a great place to start engaging them with crazy questions. There's a question I did on the 17th of Jan, so 3 days ago as we're recording this. If you made a program to sell for £50,000, what would be in it? There's 146 comments on that so far in the group. This stuff isn't rocket science, because you know that people are going to be energized by that. They're going to be thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great to have a program that costs £50,000? So they're all laying out what's in it. Now, there are a handful of people in that comment thread um, who I know are capable of building a 50 grand program, right? And are capable of delivering it. We've already reached out to 2 or 3 of those people and said, I find your answer really interesting. Let's jump on a quick call, see if I can share some insights, help you get that 50 grand program. And I've got sales calls booked with those people for next week. So
Nice.
it's as simple as this, Wes. It's as simple as this. Then all you got to do is be on point on the sales call, as we just discussed, objection, anticipation. And you got a fair chance of selling to some of those people at least. But I'm never attached to outcomes. If I have a run where I've had 5 conversations and nobody's bought, so what? Maybe the next 5 will all
How did
buy.
you decide what to put in your program? You said it was $3,000. Now it's going to be $4,000. Is it a year of access? Is it a month of one-on-one? Plus a year of group access. I mean, how do you decide what's in it?
Yeah, well, it's your game and your rules. I think based on what you know about your client avatar, you can decide what's going to work. I think stop smoking program, for example, would get fairly boring over 12 weeks, wouldn't it? You can probably deliver that in a month, if that. Um, so for the first part of the answer is gear it to your audience and what you're trying to achieve with them. I think for a slow burn, fundamental changing of business habits, probably 12 weeks is a good time scale, 90 days, because they've got to absorb a whole bunch of detail and stuff. But I just thought, well, if I break this down into 12 modules, 12 bite-sized chunks, deliver one live with the 4 of them each week, set them homework, set them accountability buddies, so we pair them into 2 pairs, so they get to work with somebody during the week who's also on the same thing. Do some homework, then bring the homework back on the next call. It just seems to work, and I've been optimizing it for a couple of years now. I've swapped out some modules and put different modules in that seem to be more impactful. And we just got to the point now where it works. I think, if you start with a program that seems like it might work, and then just try it, do a beta launch, see how your clients react to it, tweak it a bit for the next one, the next one. Within 3 or 4 iterations, you're going to have a program that's pretty much evergreen, and
Yeah.
people are going to pay for until the cows come home.
How do you coordinate the multiple people? What if you only have one person, but you
Yeah,
want 4 to start in a group, or because you start every month,
yeah,
like a new group?
yeah, exactly. So we have an intake every month. It's just CAB followed by a number. So CAB 24 is launching actually on the 24th of February. And we got one person registered on that already. There'll be the other 3 will show up. They always do. But if you make that your iron imperative, if you say, well, look, all I'm going to do to make this business work is make 4 sales a month onto my XYZ program, then you will do that. You'll go to work and you'll make that happen, and you won't
Right.
stop until it happens. But when you're first going, I guess the first couple of intakes, you can give yourself a kind of hall pass. You can say, well, okay, I've got to get 4 people, and so I'm going to offer it to this person as a scholarship, for free or something, because I know who they are, or a coaching exchange or something like that. But you don't want to do that long term. You just want to do that to get rolling. And it just feel like a rolling snowball.
Yeah.
Um,
Are,
and just start it when the people are there. I actually think, full disclosure, I think my first intake, I put it back a week because I was a person short. I just gave myself another week. I told the other 3 people that we're actually going to start this on the 18th instead of the 12th or something. But it's all good. It's your game. It's your rules, Wes. You get to
sure.
decide this stuff, don't you?
Are you do you have like a private group for each of those 4? Like, do you have hundreds of little groups, or are they?
Correct question. No, it's all one group. It's the inner circle. I recommend that you just have a client group. So effectively, you have a free group and a paid group. Free group and a VIP group, you could call it. And then all the clients get to hang out in the VIP group. All you got to do then is decide the terms in which they stay. So on my expensive program, they get 3 months free in that group, and they pay after that. The private members club is just a monthly subscription, so they can join that for £67 a month and stay in as long as they're paying. I have an intermediate program I just launched, which is a digital download. That again is going to give them 3 months free in there as well. But I might up the expensive program to 12 months membership. It seems to me that people need a kind of bit of a longer glide slope down after the thrills of the big program. So they're still actually spending time with me for maybe a year afterwards. I think that would be good, and it would seem to be extra value. But again, it's your game and your rules. That there's no hard and fast template here. I think we just got to think of the high level concepts and then build the offers that suit our particular clients underneath that.
Right. But you're bringing in 4 every month.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have a private call just with those 4?
Yes.
Or
so
do they start in with, they join the ongoing?
No. So the program restarts every month. It resets.
Mm-hmm.
It lasts for 3 months. So I have 3 of these running at any one time.
Right.
So let's put this in perspective. That's 3 hours of live coaching every week.
Right.
So I'm not like a therapist locked in a studio, seeing 5-6 people a day or something like that. This is 3 hours of live coaching a week for a business which last year brought me around 140K. This year I'll do near 200. Now, most people would work 3 hours a week for that, wouldn't they? Plus the admin and marketing that goes around it. So
Sure.
just launch a new program every intake. You don't have to launch an intake every month. It seems to suit my market and my people and my business to do that. But again, these are variables that you can decide for yourself. It doesn't have to last for 12 weeks, but it suits it suits my business to do that. So 3 running at any one time just seems kind of neat. It means I can do my coaching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the same time every week. I don't know where I'm coming over a bit OCD here, but I like things to be laid out and organized. I want to know kind of what's going to be happening in March and April, and that's all set now. I know what's going to be occurring, you see. Now, the other stuff, the fun stuff, you can do outside of that then. So on Friday, Saturday, I might decide to do a live event. On Monday, I might have a day of live streaming or something,
Mm-hmm.
But so long as you kind of anchor these evergreen coaching programs into your business process, then you can do what you want outside of it. And we travel too, I delivered CABs throughout January, and late December I was in Tenerife, so I spent 3 weeks in the Canary Islands. I knew we had an internet connection. I checked that beforehand. Landed in this apartment and doing all my 3 days of, my 3 hours of coaching from there,
Mm-hmm.
So enough time for the beach around it. But, it's kind of, for me, it's about freedom, time, financial, and location, the 3 big freedoms.
Yeah.
And it's about just doing something that suits you, It feels like there's a personal brand here that's scalable. And maybe there'll be some ads later down the line, I think my digital program, the CAA, lends itself to a kind of classical webinar funnel, perhaps, with, funded with cold traffic. But for now, and, if this applies to any of your listeners, I hope it does, but you can get started, guys. You can get high into 6 figures without any of that marketing stuff. Just start conversations with people who look like your next ideal clients, and some of them will buy your high ticket program,
Right. Yep. He's got to put it out there. And, I know some people might be thinking, well, it should be more comprehensive, but it's like, it depends on you, right? Maybe you're teaching a high level paid, program, but maybe you're just teaching the fundamentals. I mean, people need everything, right? When my dad bought me golf lessons for my 23rd birthday, and I don't know if he loved me or hated me.
Probably just wanted to get rid of you. Go play golf.
Get me addicted to that game, right? And I mean, the golf pro that I signed up with, I stuck with him for a long time, and because he was good enough to help me start, and he was good enough to help me improve as, and grow with me. And, I didn't stay at it like super long. I was in the Air Force, so I got stationed around, so I had to move. But, eventually you're going to grow out of your coach, and that's fine, but it may be years before you grow out of your coach.
Oh, yeah.
But I see people all the time with, 18 different things. I mean, all the time people they're hitting me up. Hey, what about CBD? Hey, what about CPA? Hey, what about SEM, SEO? But I'm like, pick a lane, man, and run down it.
Yeah.
It's easy from the outside looking in. I'm going on now my 12th year of working with Infusionsoft, and now I use other platforms, Entreport, HubSpot. But man, I was all in on Infusionsoft for my first 6 years.
Yeah.
Right. I only did Infusionsoft. And now I made a name
that's a great lesson, man. I think, platform migrations are so difficult anyway, but trying to learn too many things, it just completely crucifies you. And, I see coaches and therapists living very small lives because they're sweating all day trying to work out ClickFunnels, trying to work out Facebook ads, trying to build landing pages and sales pages. One of your fellow Americans is a coach I've worked with a bit, and he says there are aluminum issues and golden issues in your business, and you can fill your day working on the aluminum stuff, which is the kind of things we've been talking about. Building a website, deciding which platform to use for your mailing, and trying more than one. Or you can fill your life with gold things, which is decide who your ideal client is. Work out where they hang out, go hang out with them, go start conversations. Those are the golden things. There's a guy who coached me, and do you know what? This guy is the quirkiest Englishman you'll ever meet, right? He doesn't have a website, doesn't even have a social media. You got to phone him up to talk to him, right? Or send him a text. That's the nearest he gets to messaging. But this guy's a substantially wealthy coach, doing $250,000 a year, right? Without any of that shit. So,
right.
Don't surround yourself with excuses, because that's what this stuff can become. I can't work out Infusionsoft, for example. That sounds like an excuse for not making any money, doesn't it? So don't do that to yourself. Just work out who your client is. Go and find them.
Yeah.
Go and find them and talk to them.
Yeah. I love it, man. So where do we send people? Where do they learn more about you? Where do they join your group?
Yeah, it's really easy to find, Wes. Thanks for asking. It's just on Facebook. It's called Jonny Hates Marketing. The subtitle is Organic Client Attraction for Coaches and Therapists. But if you search Jonny Hates Marketing in the little white box with the blue border at the top of Facebook, you'll find us. It's Jonny without an H, by the way. So J-O-N-N-E. Hates Marketing. There's no Sheila Hates Marketing or Brian Hates Marketing. So you'll find me in a field of one with that moniker. And just join the group. We'd love to have you. As long as you're a coach or therapist, it's pretty much an open door. And it's a great place to be. There's so many great people in there that you'll learn from.
How'd you come up with that name?
I was on a podcast in late 2017. My business at the time was called The Success Project. Isn't that a great name for a business? No, it's shit. I thought it was great. Everybody else thought it was rubbish. So I was on a podcast, and this Canadian podcaster and I were talking about sleazy marketing ideas. And he said, what's the sleaziest marketing idea you've come across this month? And I was just talking to him about this guy in the States who pitched me with some idiotic proposition. And Scott said to me, you don't really like marketing, do you? I said, no, I hate it really. And he said, spoiler alert, Jonny hates marketing. And I went, what did you just say? Say that again. And literally within a week, man, I'd rebranded everything. Changed the name of the group, changed the name of my website. I've got johnnyhatesmarketing.com. I've written a book called Jonny Hates Marketing. You see it on the shelf, your video viewers behind me. So it just seemed right. It seemed cheeky and contentious and intriguing, and that's what people say now. Love the name of your business, So
Yeah.
yeah, it's working. Some of these great things just aren't by accident, don't they? You can't take any credit from really.
Yeah. But you were open to the inspiration, right? When the message came, you were ready to receive it and act on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm
Sure.
going to make Wes Hates Sales. Is that the same ring? I don't think it has the same ring, but maybe.
Give it a try, man.
I need the ing. Wes hates selling. How about that?
I can't stop you. Yeah. I think it'd ring better if your first name had 2 syllables. Are you a Wesley?
I am.
Wesley hates selling. Bingo. You're welcome.
Look at that. Bam.
You're welcome.
Man, we gotta end while we're on top, man.
I think so. On that note.
All right. So I am linking to your group, and I've been a member of it for a while. So I appreciate the wisdom, and I appreciate you delaying your whiskey intake for a little while to be coherent for this interview.
Well, I didn't tell you what's in my coffee, but you can only imagine.
You're a stronger man than me. I drink coffee all morning. I can't drink in the afternoon. It'll keep me awake. But,
Yeah. I don't think it does. I sleep well. I don't know whether I'd sleep any better if I didn't drink coffee. Who knows? Time for a test.
Yeah, I don't want to test it. So, all right, Jonny Hates Marketing, all the way from the UK, man. Thanks for coming on the show. It's been great.
Good stuff, buddy. It's been my pleasure. I've loved it.
Cheers. I hope by now you've detected a trend in these interviews. Rarely am I bringing on some crazy person. Actually, I don't think I've ever brought on a crazy person. We're crazy in a good way, but everybody's good people, right? And the approach is to help our listeners, help our prospects, and then if a sale is warranted, then of course we take their money, but then we give them more in return than what they paid for. Johnny's low-key approach, like I said, you can tell the dude's a straight shooter. I loved his different questions. The push-pull approach I've been a big fan of and have practiced for years, if not decades. I love how he talks about, you have to master the rules of the game so you can break them. Very few people, though, want to master the rules. They just want to jump right to the break. In jiu-jitsu, we talk about guys, the joke is always, I was watching a YouTube video, I'm going to try this move. It may work, it may not work, but until you master the fundamentals, you're not going to make that fancy move a regular part, a proven part of your game where you can go to when the chips are on the table, when everyone's watching, when the match is on the line, and execute it. Until you learn those fundamentals. And everybody's looking for these shortcuts, and marketers ruin everything. I'm seeing things now like LinkedIn was the latest and greatest. Everyone's flocking to, and everyone's messing it up. And now it's you got to change the game. You got to change how you play there. If you watch the Super Bowl, Facebook ran an ad talking about groups. Johnny's been running groups. I've been running groups. Hell, I've been running LinkedIn groups for longer than even Facebook groups. And so those are good ways to get the word out, to build a following, to stay in front of people, to attract, to pull people towards you. So pay attention to what guys like Jonny are doing. Find them, follow them, engage, okay? If you want to accelerate things, you've heard me talking about the 5. I'm in a coaching program myself. I am adjusting things, different offers, tightening things up, testing different things to validate what I think is true, what I hope is true, right? But hope is not a strategy. Hopium kills more salespeople and entrepreneurs than anything. So test but verify. Okay, so the5.us, check it out. I'm excited about the changes, how I'm going to help people quickly get results, alter how you go to market, how you sell, but then support you long term to make sure it sticks. Okay, I don't want you to get a quick fix, quick YouTube video, fancy move. It works one time, but then you don't stick with it. But if we don't get our clients fast results, it's tougher to land someone with long-term promises, with long-term, work. Yes, you sell Boeing aircraft. Yeah, it may be a long-term sale. But unless you're doing that, people look for quick wins. So that's how I'm modifying the 5 short, intensive, upfront training and coaching and tools so you can win quickly. And then you can relax because the program, you've made your money back. Now you can stick with it and make life-changing money. That's the plan. Okay? So come hang out, the5.us. See if there's an opening. I'm going to be doing different small groups. These will be no more than 20 people. So if it's full, then get on the waiting list. Hang on. Shoot me a note. Maybe someone will drop out. I'll squeeze you in. But in the meantime, if you want free support and advice and motivation, join us at theimplementors.com. Theimplementors.com will take you to my Facebook group. You can carry on the conversation from any of these episodes. Okay, ask me questions, what you're working on, and I do my best to support everyone there as quick as I can. So come hang out there. All right, I'm happy to help. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe. All right, that helps me grow the numbers, helps you make sure you don't miss anything. You get the info right away. Like I say, time kills deals, and information ages. So get it early. All right, apply it quickly. Come to the group, ask questions. I'll help you refine it. All right, so subscribe. Thanks for doing that and sharing this and leaving a 5-star review. Now go sell something.